Alex is someone I get along very well with on and off the court. Again, another physical battle, but obviously against an opponent that was, playing on a high level. So I'm glad to overcome it. I was really blown away by how inspired she was. I mean, I was blown away by watching great athletes on.
No one anticipated this. Not the WTA, not the tennis community, and most definitely not Alex Eala. Because Novak Djokovic just entered a news conference and revealed something shocking that rocked every court, every locker room, and every aspect of the sport. He revealed that he is actively looking to play mixed doubles with Alex Eala at the Stuttgart Open while staring directly into those cameras. In that exact manner. No leaks, no rumors, and no whispers. The greatest champion our sport has ever produced made a clear, public, and documented statement. The world came to a halt. Before delving into the specifics of Djokovic's remarks and its implications for Eala, her career, and the women's game as a whole, we must first grasp one thing. This was not an unexpected occasion. This had a backstory. A foundation existed. And this announcement makes perfect sense once you grasp it.
I would love to play mixed doubles, of course, with Novak.
Because most people are unaware of this. This concept was initially introduced to the universe by Alex Eala. She has already conveyed her adoration for Novak Djokovic and her sincere delight at the prospect of playing on the same court. Playing with a tennis superstar of his caliber would be one of the most amazing experiences of her life, she had stated in her own elegant and modest manner. Only someone who genuinely loves the sport and respects what greatness looks like up close would say it with such sincerity. Djokovic heard her as well. Not with a courteous nod or a social media like, but with a news conference that declared to the world, "I want her as my partner." Let's be very clear about what happens when Novak Djokovic mentions your name during a press conference with that kind of aim. This is not just any tennis voice. This man has spent decades looking down the most stressful moments in the sport's history without blinking. Every tournament director, WTA official, rival, and fan on every continent pays attention to what he has to say. And all of them just heard him speak Alex Eala's name with passion, purpose, and the entire weight of all he has amassed during a famous career standing solidly behind it. Since the Australian Open, when he praised Eala and acknowledged her as one of the most significant tennis stars to ever emerge from the Philippines, he is said to have been an Eala booster. This isn't bandwagon praise. This is not an overnight sensation. This is a persistent faith in her potential and what she stands for. He's been reliable. He has spoken up. And now, he has increased that support to a degree that no one in the tennis community could have predicted at the start of the year.
The other day with Alex Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's a big interest.
Djokovic's profound faith in Eala stems from what he has seen himself. He didn't merely observe her from a distance. By all accounts, he thoroughly enjoyed his on-court session with Eala. He added that extra comment that carried a lot of weight after saying it was wonderful to have her there. "She is genuinely good," he said. That may seem straightforward on the surface, but coming from Novak Djokovic, it sounds very different. The greatest players in the history of the sport have shared the court with this man. He is aware of what great ball striking looks like. He is aware of the characteristics of time, anticipation, and touch. Therefore, when he remarks that a player is genuinely talented after spending actual time on the court with her, that is an example of a champion identifying true quality in a developing potential. That's speaking from experience. That standard was developed over many years of competing at the highest level of the sport. He went above and beyond that. Eala is fantastic to watch on TV, but it's even better in person, according to him. He described her as an amazing athlete who is making a name for herself in the WTA for all the right reasons. Not for noise, not for controversy, but for the proper reasons. Her discipline, her work, her attitude, and her tennis skills. These are the comments of a man who is impressed by more than simply a score. These are the opinions of someone who has examined something closely and saw something that cannot be faked or produced. This Stuttgart news is considerably more potent because of the following. Djokovic is responding to more than just Eala's skill. He is responding to her personality, which is somewhat different in the world of professional tennis. When Djokovic visited Eala following her elimination from Indian Wells, it is said that he was completely preoccupied with what she did next rather than the disappointment of the defeat. He commended her for locking back in right away, going back to work, and focusing entirely on her next task without spending a single day in self-pity or indecision. He found that answer to be motivating. Not the victory, not the publicity, not the attention, the reaction, the self-control, and the readiness to return to training and continue improving even after being in the spotlight during a trying time. He has talked fervently about how Eala has put the Philippines on the international tennis scene in a way that will reverberate across the sport for many years to come through nothing but unrelenting hard work and unflinching dedication. Djokovic is requesting that Eala to stand next to him on the Stuttgart court. Not only the competitor, the athlete, the person who reveals her true self to you, not when everything is going well, but when it's not. It becomes much more intriguing at this point, because this is more than just a touching tale of collaboration. Djokovic is communicating with the WTA through this, an extremely noisy one. Recall that this is the same man who spoke out during the Australian Open and addressed the WTA directly about how crucial it is to manage Eala's schedule and court location in a way that genuinely respects the gravity of her status. He urged the tour to place her on courts where her admirers can occupy every seat, where the ambience can equal the scope of her accomplishments, and where she can truly feel appreciated in the manner that her exceptional talent demands. Djokovic is doing it once more by coming forth and openly asking Eala to be his mixed doubles partner in Stuttgart. The conversation is being forced by him. He is making it impossible for anyone to ignore her. Additionally, there is currently much more support for Eala than just Djokovic. Jessica Pegula has stated unequivocally that the potential Eala is bringing to the WTA cannot be denied by anyone interested in women's tennis. Throughout her journey, Rafael Nadal, one of the most revered voices in the sport's history, has consistently offered support. Kim Clijsters, the former world number one, has expressed profound admiration for the extraordinary commitment that serves as the real basis for all of Eala's recent achievements. It is not a coincidence that names like Djokovic, Nadal, Pegula, and Clijsters are all pointing in the same direction. That is the sport's acknowledgement of reality and refusal to keep quiet about it. Alex Eala has managed every single situation with a grace that is quite astounding despite all of this enormous attention and the weight of a nation's hope resting on her shoulders. She made the decision to refrain from using any derogatory language toward anyone who had criticized her. She stated that even though she has experienced unfair treatment, she chooses to view the world positively and refuses to let that negativity dictate how she lives. It is difficult to carry the aspirations of a whole nation. It's difficult to become a symbol. However, Eala is maintaining her composure, humility, and groundedness, all of which speak volumes about her maturity and preparedness for whatever is ahead. Here we are then. The whole tennis world is now wondering the same thing as Stuttgart approaches. Will Novak Djokovic and Alex Eala truly enter that court as partners? And if we do, consider the significance of that picture. The most captivating young talent the Philippines has ever produced stands next to the greatest tennis champion in history. One court, two champions, two eras, and a memorable event for the sport. After Alex Eala expressed his admiration for a legend, the legend turned around and declared to the world that he wanted her on his side. Stuttgart will arrive sooner rather than later.